Welcome back to this channel. In today's video, we are continuing on in a series where we're going over the most common gait deviations or walking problems that occur after a neurologic injury. And today we are going to be going over vaulting, which is a pretty common gait problem or walking problem that I promise you, if you understand the root cause of what's causing you to do this, you can almost eliminate this specific gait deviation with just a few simple cues. So again, if you're someone that's struggling with vaulting, stick around because in this video you're going to learn what this is, what causes this, and extremely simple tips on how to resolve this issue. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara. I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take full ownership of your rehab and your overall health. Before we jump into today's video, if you are someone who's had a neurologic injury and you are struggling to maintain consistent daily progress towards your goals, then I wanted to tell you about our Gold membership program because it was designed with you in mind. With a Gold membership, you get access to over 400 exercises that I give to my patients that I see in person. You just have access to the entire vault of exercises, but they're in a software system where you can easily filter down to the exercises that are specific to the goals that you are trying to achieve, which is way different than being handed some generic home exercise program that most of you are getting when you go to physical therapy. But in addition to that, we have once a month Ask Me Anything sessions where you can get your specific questions answered and where I can really help you dial in to a structured program that will get you the results you're looking for. But in addition to that, you also get access to our monthly webinars, but also you're part of a community. So having the accountability is absolutely essential, and that is also something that you will get as a Gold member. So if you want to learn more about our membership program or to sign up, you can visit rehab-hq.com. Or if you're not really sure if the program's right for you, you can also visit rehab-hq.com, scroll to the bottom, schedule a discovery call where you can talk to one of our experts to learn more about the program, to share your story, and help you to make a decision as to whether or not this program is right for you. And hopefully, I will see you on the inside. All right, now back to vaulting. What is vaulting? Vaulting is where you rise up on your uninvolved leg when you're trying to swing your involved leg through. Now, this gets a little bit tricky, so for those of you that are new, usually when I pull the duct, sometimes I pull the duct tape out, and that's just to signify this is the involved leg. Okay, so vaulting gait is when you rise up on your uninvolved leg. And why do some people do this after a neurologic injury? One reason is either literally or perceptually, meaning the way your brain perceives it, this leg is longer. So either it's actually longer or your brain is perceiving this leg as longer. Now, if it's actually longer, I have great news for you because if we can address this and just even your legs out, then that should resolve this issue where you might be vaulting up on this leg. So what could make this leg longer? If you're in an AFO that is pointed, that is going to make this leg a little bit longer. We talked about this a little bit in the circumduction video, so there is going to be a little bit of repetition, but I promise you the root cause is a little bit different, and so that's why I said at the beginning that you should be able to correct this issue by the time this video is over, just by understanding where your vaulting gait deviation is coming from. But if your AFO is pointed, it's going to make this leg longer, and what happens sometimes is they forget to raise this side up. So two things you can do. One is try and get that wedge taken out of your shoe, maybe you have, or out of your off the bottom of your AFO. Maybe you have like you've gotten some range of motion back in your ankle and you have adequate dorsiflexion. So the reason they do that is because you have a tight calf muscle and you have like kind of what they call a contracture. And sometimes they can take that out or lower that. Or what they need to do, if they can't take the wedge off of your involved leg AFO, they need to raise up the other side or the other shoe. But while they're doing that, you really want to make sure that you're stretching this ankle every day so that you can eventually take that wedge out of that shoe, okay? But if this leg is longer and this leg stays regular length, meaning this leg's pointed, you're going to vault up in order to clear that foot, okay? So that's probably the most common reason that I see people vault up. The other reason is that you have spasticity in your quadricep muscles. So this will make the leg longer because spasticity, we went into this in the circumduction video, I will link that video in the description below, is that your leg involuntarily locks out and then you can't bend it when you go to swing this leg through, which is what we normally do when we walk to clear the ground. If this leg does not bend, it stays locked out, and so you can't get it through. So what do? You vault up on your other leg to get that leg through, okay? So that's another very, very common reason that someone might vault up. If you don't circumduct, and again, we went through that earlier, a couple videos ago, so make sure you go back and watch that video. If you didn't learn how to circumduct, then you might have learned how to vault up onto that leg to get this leg through. Spasticity in the quadricep muscles is not the only reason that you might not be able to bend this leg to bring it through. And we talked about this in the circumduction video, but it is important to bring up because the root cause is going to be a little bit different and it's easier to correct, I think, but is the inability to dissociate. So what is dissociation? Dissociation left from right means that your legs can do opposite things at the same time. Your right and your left leg can do opposite things. Sometimes after damage to one side of your brain, you lose this ability for your brain to be able to do opposite things, the left and the right leg to do opposite things. So what happens is when you're standing on this leg does not want to bend, because what's going to happen if you bend this leg's going to buckle, right? And I see that quite a bit. So with people that can't dissociate. So what does your brain just do instead to compensate? Well, it would rather just keep both legs straight than take the chance of bending this leg and having this leg buckle. Okay, so the inability to dissociate left from right. And then the other one, and some of you might have multiple of these issues going on, but the other one is that you just don't have the strength in your hip flexors. You don't have the strength in the muscles to lift that leg up. And so what some people do is they just get some momentum going and they kind of vault up and it just kind of creates like a pendulum that you can swing that leg through. Okay, so those are the main things that cause it. But the reason I said that this is like an easy fix is because many, many times you learn how to vault, meaning going up, very, very early on in your recovery. And it really is just a habit at this point, meaning that once you recognize that you're doing it and what's causing it, many, many times you can keep this heel down. Okay, so it's a learned habit. So what are the 2 tips that I'm going to give you of things that you can start doing, working on today, that if you do this for like a week every single day, it might resolve the issue altogether? One is that you can raise this leg up a little bit. One thing I like is this thing called an even up. It's meant to go on the opposite foot of someone if you have like a cast on to keep even you out. Now, it's not super durable, so it's not something you could wear all the time, but it is a great training tool that what it'll do is it'll lift this opposite leg up. So you put it on your opposite leg, and what it'll do is it'll make it easier to swing this leg through so that you can unlearn the habit of vaulting, right? So we just raise this leg up, toe to heel, all the way up. This leg's going to swing through and you won't feel that need to go up on your toe on this leg to bring the leg through, okay? So it's a training tool. The other training tool that I love is crouch walking. So if you bend your knees slightly and you keep them bent and you never let them lock out, many, many times you'll be able to bring this leg through, okay? So crouch walking, bend your knees first, okay? And try and take little steps. Many, many times, if you're someone that vaults, that will eliminate it completely, crouch walking, okay? So if you want to minimize that vaulting, that going up on your opposite leg, crouch walk, bend those knees. I like hands behind the back because when your knees bent, sometimes it can put a little pressure on your back. So if you put your hands behind your back, it kind of helps you to keep your chest up. And then just small baby steps. And then the last exercise that I love is a resistance band belt. Now, you guys know I show it quite a bit, but this is the prime gait deviation where a resistance band belt for active assisted hip flexion would come in so handy. Again, many of you vault. It's a learned habit. So if you give yourself a little bit of assist, remember I said sometimes you're doing that vaulting because you just don't have the hip strength to bring that leg through, or your knee doesn't want to bend because you're afraid your legs are gonna buckle, right? If you can't dissociate. So if you put the resistance band belt on and you allow it to assist hip flexion and knee flexion many times, you will not vault up on this leg. And then it just requires repetition, spending a little bit of time on it each day. If you're doing it a lot and very consistently and you find that it's really hard for you to break the habit, I would say minimum of like 10 or 15 minutes a day with one of these techniques, either the crouch walking, the lift on the opposite shoe, or the resistance band belt. If you do that every single day, I guarantee you can stop vaulting up on your uninvolved leg. If you are someone that feels lost and overwhelmed, or you feel like you've hit a plateau, our gold membership program will get you back on track. It will get you walking better with more confidence and give you back your control of your rehab. Again, to learn more about our membership program, visit rehab-hq.com. I enjoyed spending time with y'all today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.